Creative Australia's protocols for using First Nations cultural and intellectual property in the arts are an important part of respecting the rights of Indigenous people to own and control their cultural heritage. Under copyright laws, these rights are not always protected, which is why these protocols were developed. Page 5. The following 3 scenes provide some practical examples of how the protocols are used in assessment at Creative Australia.
Scenario 1. Arts Projects for Individuals and Groups Literature Panel. Application. A writer has a transformative experience visiting the Northern Territory and being included in Aboriginal ceremonial celebrations. They want to develop a fictional work that describes this experience and other cultural experiences they had during travels within Australia and overseas.
While this project has good intentions, the groundwork and engagement with First Nations elders or community knowledge holders isn't evident. I don't think the applicant is aware of cultural protocols. It seems like they're going on their experience alone. It lacks research and consultation. I'm concerned about Indigenous cultural and intellectual property rights being exploited. And who would own the copyright to these stories if this book were to be written?
First Nations Protocols Checklist. Communication, research, consultation and consent. Copyright and Indigenous cultural and intellectual property rights. To find more information. Principle 3. Communication, consultation and consent. When someone from outside the Indigenous community seeks to use Indigenous language or to use or record Indigenous stories, copyright issues arise. Pages 39 to 41. Principle 4. Interpretation. Indigenous people are the primary guardians of their culture and should be given the opportunity to interpret and present their own cultures. How will your project or work affect the Indigenous language group or community it is based on? Does it empower them? Page 42. Principle 7. Attribution. Indigenous people have the right to be respectfully acknowledged and attributed as the traditional owners and custodians of their cultural heritage. Pages 55 to 66. Scenario 2. Arts Projects for Individuals and Groups Visual Arts.
This group exhibition proposal from Ari Gallery about climate change is really strong.
Yes, I think it's an interesting and varied group of artists, and includes 2 First Nations artists.
The application states that all the artists are confirmed, and there are payments in the budget for all 5 artists.
Yeah, I like it too, but I can't see letters of support from the First Nations artists confirming their participation in the project.
I agree. I'd be more comfortable hearing from the artists directly about their involvement.
First Nations Protocols Checklist. Calibre of artwork and artists involved. Payments in the budget for all artists. Letters of support from First Nations artists involved in the project, confirming their participation. To find more information. Principle 3. Communication, consultation and consent outlines methods and processes for consultation and communication with First Nations community. When commissioning or involving First Nations practitioners in a project, a letter of support indicating their agreement to participate should be obtained and included with a grant application. Pages 31 to 41. Scenario 3. Arts Projects for Organisations Theatre Panel.
I really like this application from XYZ Art Centre for their latest development.
Me too. It's got some great performers in it. The calibre of work is very high.
I can see they consulted with First Nations elders from the regions where these stories originate.
Yes, it's great to see. And a good idea to capture this consultation that occurred over a 2-year period in a short video.
But wait, I can't see any payments to the elders for their consultation or their re-engagement to provide feedback for the rehearsal stage in the project budget.
Right, that is a question mark. I can't see it either. That is concerning.
I know, so disappointing. I'm sure there were consultation processes and payments for all stages of the project, but it isn't referenced anywhere in this application.
First Nations Protocols Checklist. Calibre of artwork and artists involved. a written letter and video showing evidence of consultation over 2 years with elders from the region. Consultation with elders for this stage of the project isn't visible. Payment in the budget for ongoing consultation. To find more information, Principle 3, Communication, Consultation and Consent outlines methods and processes for consultation and communication with First Nations community, and expectations such as fair and adequate pay for advice and consultation. Consultation is ongoing throughout a project, especially if it develops or changes. Consultation should be evident in a grant application through support letters, documentation of consultations and agreements in written or video form, and payment lines in the project budget, pages 31 to 41. Please refer to the document for case studies and the practical steps to working respectfully with First Nations people and their cultural and intellectual property. It is the peers' responsibility to ensure the protocols are followed, and for applicants to make explicit through documentation and support how they have followed the protocols. See the link in this video's bio for an Indigenous cultural and intellectual property checklist.